This is the brand new Audi Q8 e-tron. But despite the name, hindi ito related sa gas-powered Q8. So yeah, because basically this was the first Audi electric car, the Audi e-tron. But since they're now making a whole range of electric cars, they have to rename this to the Q8 e-tron. So maliban sa kanyang pangalan, na-improve rin ang kanyang itsura. It now has a more athletic front end, along with new accent lighting sa kanyang enclosed grille and newly designed adaptive matrix LED headlights. And then as you're gonna move down the sides here, you're gonna see e-tron badging here sa kanyang front fenders. But by the way, if you're gonna press this button here, this is actually the charge port for the DC fast charging. On the other side naman sa kanan is the charging for the AC 11 kilowatt charging. So let's just close this. You also get a nice set of 21-inch wheels that perfectly fits the Q8 e-tron's athletic yet elegant profile. Lastly, sa kanyang rear end, you're gonna see a new set of full-width LED taillights, a redesigned rear bumper, which all helps in making the Q8 look sportier. And then sa baba niya, you have the e-tron logo sa kanyang rear bumper, which is very subtle compared to, other electric vehicles trying to really show off the fact that they're electric. So overall, I do think that the Q8 e-tron looks nicer, more elegant, and compared to the BMW iX, a lot more normal. So with that in mind, let's now explore the interior of the Audi Q8 e-tron. So here inside the Audi Q8 e-tron, just like the exterior, the interior is very minimalist, very straightforward as well. One could argue that compared to the likes of the BMW iX or the Mercedes-Benz EQE SUV, the interior looks well in terms of the screen sizes. They're on the small side. But for me personally, I'm okay with the MMI infotainment system because, well, the information that's displayed here is very well presented, I think. Very straightforward, very simple. But before we get to the tech part, let's talk about the materials first because this is Audi that we're talking about. So alam nyo naman na dapat lang at this price point, of course, the interior would feel very premium and very German, very robust. So let's take a listen to the door thud. Yeah, that's very solid, very tank-like yung pagkabuo. Likewise with the center console here, the panels and everything in the interior feels robust and really well built. So apart from the build quality, even the material quality is excellent, top-notch, and there's a lot of silver metal trims here that really feels cold and very premium to the touch. Now going on to the tech part, what you have here in front is the Audi Virtual Cockpit, the digital instrument cluster, along with the MMI infotainment system. Both work really well, and I do like the minimalism of the gauge cluster, unlike the BMWs of these days na medyo cartoonish or basically very kakaiba yung itsura ng mga BMW software stuff ngayon. I also like the fact that whenever you interact with the infotainment system, may tactile feel siya, may haptic feedback siya, that basically I think simulates the clickiness of previous Audi vehicles na ang daming switches and buttons noon. Though for me sa totoo lang with the previous Audi interiors, those switches which felt really premium and very clicky were part of the luxury experience. There's not a lot of hard buttons pero because of the tactility of the touchscreens, I actually find it very intuitive and very useful. You also have here 4-zone climate control, you have ventilated front seats as well, and then you also have a 360-degree camera system, and of course front and rear parking sensors. And also worth talking about, by the way, is the ambient lighting situation in the inside, along with the sublime sounding Bang & Olufsen sound system. So now that's a good time for us, I think, to move to the back seats ngayon of the Audi Q8 e-tron. So here in the back of the Audi Q8 e-tron, as you're gonna see, being a mid-size luxury SUV, there's plenty of space for me. There's a good amount of legroom here, and the headroom is actually really good as well. You have here, of course, your rear lights, which are, of course, in LED. Then you also have your rear sunshades here, kung ikaw naiinitan at nasisilaw mula sa araw. And your aircon vents, by the way, are not just here sa center console, they're also on the pillars, which is really good and not exactly what you would normally find in other vehicles. And then as mentioned kanina, you have 4-zone climate control, so you have 2-zone here sa likod. And then your usual armrest and a cup holder there. And then 2 USB fast charging ports sa baba ng kanyang rear climate controls. Uy, I like that. I like the way this clicks back to the seat. So that's really basically Audi quality for you. Then let's now talk about storage, because this is the Q8 e-tron, so meaning it's electric, but this is not using a bespoke EV platform. Instead, the Q8 e-tron is actually using the MLB Evo platform that's been adopted for electric vehicle use. On the upside, nagkaroon na siya ngayon ng front trunk, albeit it's on the small side. At least the rear cargo area is pretty big. As for the electric drivetrain, both the base e-tron 50 that we have here and the range-topping e-tron 55 now have bigger batteries and more powerful electric motors. Therefore, both variants are now faster and can travel further on a single charge. So with all of these details out of the way, let's now take the Audi Q8 e-tron for a drive. So we're currently on our way to Subic now with the Audi Q8 e-tron, and as you're gonna see, may kasama akong mga tropa ngayon. So we're gonna see naman their names sa baba ng screen, but I think it's a good segue na itanong natin sa kanila kung ano yung experience nila with the Audi Q8 e-tron so far. So, basta yung experience with this car?
Ay, masarap! First time ko makasakay sa kotse na may massage.
So I forgot to mention pala with the interior segment kanina na yung Q8 e-tron nga pala has massaging front seats, and it's actually really good. Hindi siya parang sa Peugeot or some of the other lower end brands na para may bladder lang or something na nag-expand and contract sa buwan mo. Talagang this really has pressure points, which feels really good, and malaki ang tulong niya sa pagtanggal ng fatigue in long drives. So, lagi naman cliche with electric cars is that since wala kang engine noise, it's gonna be a quiet car. Pero here in the Q8 e-tron kasi, that takes it up a notch because it's really quiet in terms of road noise and wind noise. Ang sobrang muted niya, which is amplified na rin, or rather, which is complemented by the air suspension, which does such a good job in filtering out the bumps sa kalsada, really making for a very relaxing long-distance cruiser. Usually with electric cars, diba, we're used to that instant torque. But here in the Q8 e-tron, if the car's at least in standard or comfort mode, hindi niya ino-offer lahat ng torque niya in an instant manner. So, there's a build-up of torque na parang it feels like a gas engine, which is refreshing for me after coming from a lot of electric cars having that instant torque novelty. So, as a result ngayon dito, everything's really smooth. So, as mentioned, the ride's smooth, the road and wind suppression is very excellent. And with that, with the massage chairs pa, of course, we're not gonna be forgetting the massage chairs for a while, guys. Then, combined with that smooth power delivery na hindi nga siya yung parang instant, the car is relaxing to drive. Very, parang feeling ko it's, ano pa nga yun, baka it's worth doing an experiment if it's gonna be helping you lower your blood pressure. No?
Nakaka-lower ba ng blood pressure? Check natin.
Hindi, dala yung ano.
And then other aspects worth mentioning with the Q8 e-tron is of course being a German luxury car, yung kanang level of stability is really unlike anything else the lower price point. So talagang the car feels really stable, don't feel the car doing triple-digit speeds. Yun nga lang, in terms of the efficiency aspect, this car is currently doing 4.87 kilometers per kilowatt hour, which is a bit off compared to the 6 kilometers per kilowatt hour that the BMW EVs can do, or the Ioniq 5, the Ioniq 6. So this is a bit on the thirstier side when it comes to the consumption ng kanyang battery. Though again, because of that consumption, it's a bit off from the nearly 500 kilometers naman on the real world as we're gonna be discovering ngayon as we head to Subic. Also worth mentioning lastly is the driver assistance tech that this car gets. There's not actually a lot. You have no adaptive cruise control, blind spot warning. They're actually an optional package or an option extra for the Q8 e-tron. What you get as standard lang is the lane departure warning and the automatic emergency braking. So now that we've hit a set of twisty roads with the Audi Q8 e-tron, how does this car feel like in terms of the handling aspect? So with the Q8 e-tron, it actually sort of falls in between comfort and sporty. The iX3 and the iX from BMW are oriented more on the sporty side of things. So those cars have a strong sense of connection with the way the steering feels, with the way the throttle is delivered, or the power. Here in the Q8 e-tron kasi, while the steering is not completely numb naman, pero there's not much feel going to the wheel compared to the iX3 and the iX. Pero in terms of the body control naman, itong Audi Q8 e-tron again falls on that in-between part ng BMW and Merc in terms of orientation. But if you put the car in dynamic mode, so as mentioned kanina, this has air suspension, adaptive air suspension, and when you put the car in this mode, the suspension lowers itself a bit, and also as a result of that, it makes the ride a bit firmer, which of course results in less body roll whenever you go through corners. So there's a strong dual personality with this car, and combined with the all-wheel drive grip of the Quattro all-wheel drive system itong Q8 e-tron, by the way this has dual motors as mentioned kanina, there's a high level of grip. And sabi ko kanina sa highway drive natin na the power delivery of this Q8 e-tron is on the linear side, pero when you put the car in dynamic mode, that instant torque, so yeah, so yun, in dynamic mode, that typical EV characteristic na instant yung torque delivery niya, andun na ulit if the car is in that mode. So let's put the car back na ngayon to comfort mode. So yun nga, the suspension will raise up a bit back to normal setting basically, and then it's gonna soften its damping, and ayun, power delivery niya is on the linear side na ulit. And then also lastly, the brakes, because usually with electric cars, you have this parang mushy brake feel sa first 10% ng apak mo because of the regenerative braking. But here in the Q8 e-tron, I think that the regen brakes are well tuned. So ang firm pa rin ng first 10% ng apak mo. And then syempre, as usual with an electric car, you can adjust the level of regen that you get whenever you're coasting. So yan, I'm gonna put the Q8 e-tron in its max regen mode. Yun nga lang though, it's also worth mentioning, speaking of the regen modes, because there's no one pedal drive mode with this car. And that's because Audi wanted to make their EVs feel as natural as possible in terms of that regen brake feel. Yun nga lang, I do wish that it had the one pedal drive mode that EVs usually have sa city, because I find that very useful. Pero it's a small nuance lang naman with the Q8 e-tron. So
Overall, for you, what's the best feature of Audi Q8 e-tron?
sa akin actually, for me, yung favorite feature ko sa kanya is basically the relaxing nature of the car. So yes, it may not be as sporty. May sporty orientation na onti lang siya, but not as sporty as the iX3 or the iX ng BMW. Pero yung level of comfort niya and the relaxation that it offers to you because of the nice air suspension, the massaging seats, by the way.
Worth to mention.
Exactly. And of course, the extreme levels of refinement, the quietness inside the car. Talagang it's a really relaxing car to drive on long distances. And sa totoo lang, medyo curious pa nga ako to find out if this car can lower your blood pressure. But yeah, that's really the Q8 e-tron for it. It's a very relaxing car on long distance drives, and at the same time, there's a strong dual personality with this car when you want to enjoy the car a bit na rin on twisty roads. are three variants of the Audi Q8 e-tron. The base e-tron 50 that we have here, and the range-topping e-tron 55 that's also offered in a sport-back body style. In terms of features, the e-tron 55 basically builds upon the e-tron 50, adding stuff like black exterior trims, HD matrix LED headlights, along with more advanced driver assistance systems and a panoramic sunroof, just to name a few. Pricing as usual with PGA cars is only available upon request, but estimates for the entire Q8 model ranges anywhere from around 6 to 7 million pesos. Pretty good value, I think, especially for the amount of features that you get. So how does the Audi Q8 e-tron stand out? Well, compared to the iX it competes with, the Q8 e-tron I think looks nicer. It may not be the flashiest or the fastest in the segment, but what it offers is pure luxury and relaxation in spades.